And hello, it's Adrian J. Hogue with Roy Stiles and another edition of Johnny Canucks Talk. We are live on YouTube and we want to talk about stuff like the Vancouver Canucks camp lineups. But before we get to that, we want to talk about the big Seattle fill in the blank reveal. Roy, are you pumped?
Seattle Blanks.
Yeah, the Seattle Blanks. Are you excited about our new rivals?
Oh, I'm pumped about the new rivals. How can you not be in Vancouver? We need a team in the Pacific Northwest. Not a better city to be a rival with Seattle because we hate them. And but it's going to be a love-hate because, you know, I'm a Seattle Seahawks fan.
Yeah, me too.
So I do love the city. I've gone down a few times. I've seen three Seattle Seahawks games. So I do love the city. They're great people and everything. But to have that rival is going to be huge for Vancouver. But yeah, they can't be called the Seattle Blanks. That'd be a terrible start.
Wouldn't be a good name. So what's your money on as far as the name goes? Or what would you name the team if you had the
Kraken?
team?
Kraken. I'm just going to stop you. Kraken.
Well, do you
want to be the Kraken? I don't want to debate it. I don't know any killer sockeye out there. Do you?
Ooh, killer sockeye? Was that
take
considered?
out the killer. Take out the killer part. Just the sockeye.
What about the Seattle killer whales? What do you think about that?
Oh, how about the orcas? Let's just name it and actually they can just have I wouldn't mind selling our logo to them if they wanted it.
Yeah, we'll go back to this baby right here. That's what I'm talking about.
That's right.
Right there.
I think it's gonna be the Kraken.
Okay.
Just because I don't know if you've seen the video. To me, it's very Kraken-y, the net and the ominous music and all that stuff. But you know, who knows? It could be something similar. Like I saw on Twitter today, some guy said, "Let's not read between the lines, just see what we see." And welcome to the NHL, the Seattle Boats.
The boats, or the
wouldn't that be great?
The net, the Fisher nets.
Yeah, it's the Canucks versus the Boats.
The Seattle fishermen, people, the Fisher persons. Just to be politically correct,
so,
the Fisher
that's
people.
Right. But I think it's good. I don't know. I've looked at those lists of names, and the only other one that I kind of liked had nothing to do with water, and so this one obviously has to do with water. I didn't mind the evergreens. Actually, sounds weird, but I think the color scheme is what I liked more about it. The Sasquatch was one I thought that would be kind of neat. Why not? I mean, I came from a high school that had the Wondas, so anyway,
go Wondas. Yeah, evergreen you could have like a Christmas tree, and they could have lights that actually light up,
right? With a mouth.
It'd be amazing.
They'd be all happy.
Be good.
Anyway,
so these are going to be our rivals. What kind of lineup do you think that they're going to have to face when they meet the Vancouver Canucks? Speaking of lineups, you know, what do you think about the lineups that have been juggled around and seem maybe a little bit back to normal for the Canucks after the scrimmage last night?
I think the lineup is pretty much set, but I think what I liked about Travis Green switching them up a bit is just to see, in case things aren't working out, what can we go to? And what I liked about it is it felt like it was a little bit more evened out, the scoring. Like the wingers never changed. I don't know if that was something that was noted by I might have been Brandon Batchelor, but the wingers didn't change, just the centerman changed. And then one of the lines I liked that were switched was that Horvat, Roussel, McEwen line, which potentially could be a checking line against the other teams. Just not that they're necessarily a phenomenal trekking line, but they'd be gritty. Like they'd be tough to play against. And you just tell them to get up in people's faces and stuff. That might be fun. Besser is the big winner out of this. He's either going to play with Horvat or Pettersson. So I think that Miller to Foley Gaudette line looked interesting to me. That'd be an interesting second line because essentially Bo would go down to that third line piece, but he would play a ton. You know what I mean? Because checking lines usually around that third, fourth line usually. But I think there'd be more even distribution between the top nine that way. I think there's still going to be. I think our top line is pretty solid. I'm hopeful for the Besser, Pearson, Horvat line. Besser had a beautiful pass to Horvat in last night's scrimmage. From the sounds of it, the Gaudette line kind of got they were on their heels a lot of that game last night. So I don't know. the thing is, this is a quick series, right? So I think our forward lines are pretty much set with the exception of the fourth line. Don't know what's happening with JV and McEwen, and not really sure what's happening down there with Mott and Eriksson, and Sutter. So it's going to be interesting. The fourth line, I have no idea what's going to happen with that. But right now, McEwen's playing well, so maybe JV. And this is what the knock against JV's always been, hasn't it?
Yeah, he had a really good scrimmage. He had a good scrimmage last night, scored a goal, set one up. He looked pretty good, obviously a bit more engaged after the message was sent to him. McEwen's played well too. I hope that there's a world where we can see both Zach McEwen and Jake Virtanen in the lineup somehow. And it could be, having Bo Horvat move down to that third line to turn that into a checking line, as you mentioned, sort of gives Gaudette that opportunity to be in a more offensive role. Maybe there can be some other kinds of creativity that Travis Green can pull out of the magic hat to allow us to have the most potent offensive team that still has a good checking line.
I think right now Miller came out last night, I guess, and he said that right now McEwen is just a hard player to play against. He's fast, he's big, he's strong. When you're getting endorsements from arguably the veteran leader of the team, other than Horvat, Miller's probably the next guy. He's the guy that gets him, and Roussel seem to talk to these young guys quite a bit and get them going. So when Miller's endorsing you, you've done a lot of things well. So right now, I think it's really hard based on what I've read. I haven't seen anything, obviously, but based on what I've read from the reporters that are there, McEwen has worked his way into the lineup. He shouldn't be left off. I know there's an article that came out about trusting at this time of year, especially because you have 3 games to get in. If you don't get in, you're done. And so do you do all this effort to only play 3 games or 4 games? No, you want to get into the playoffs, right? So I don't know. I think if Travis Green is trusting these guys, that's the other thing is some of these guys that come in bigger and stronger. So it's interesting. I mean, look at Ulevy on the defensive end. Ulevy, no one talked about. They were talking about Rathbone. They were talking about Rafferty. I haven't heard Rafferty's name at all. He's just been on the Black Aces going out there after the practice. But Ulevy's now with the main group, and they're increasingly he's getting more confident. So if he can come in and surprise some people with it, and he's a decent skater and a really good passer out of his end, and that's huge in the playoffs. So I'd be excited if he's made a bit of a turn there. I still am not a believer in him, but it sounds like he's playing really well, so that's good.
It's good news moving forward for the Canucks. They'll probably be all in for the playoffs this year, and some of those Black Aces won't get a chance. But the play of Cole Lind and Ulevy, that definitely looks good for the future when the Canucks need to find ways to shed some of their salary cap. So that's a bit of a summary of the Canucks looking forward. Thanks a lot, Roy. And I guess you're supposed to hit the subscribe or like button, or just put some comments in there, like something to do with that bag.
Just press this penny jar.
The container of coins that's in the back of Roy's room there. Maybe you can ask, what's that all about? And what are you going to spend that on?